But yeah, how are you supposed to create profiles of these people if you have no information on them? It all starts with how do you easily capture the information and track it over the course of thousands of customers? And the only way to reasonably do that is through a software like what you guys have, especially if you can add the purchase component too, because then you get to see the transaction. You can actually start to calculate
Yeah.
how much they're spending. And that's where, for
Right.
me, that
Like, and
gets
that's
really
why for
exciting.
us, like, we started out as a reservation company, but what we realized was there's a real need in this industry for the customer management portion of this to help people understand how we're getting the most out of every single customer and not to treat every single customer exactly the same. And so we've gone through this evolution of, great, you're happy with the reservation system. We believe we're the best. That might be a biased opinion, but it is a painful thing to switch a reservation company. We can take over the communication component of any reservation system, or if you're using other system to gather contact information from Wi-Fi or however else for summer bowling programs, you're gathering contact information. It doesn't matter to us. We can be agnostic in a sense of let us leverage our expertise in understanding how we're going to get people not just in your door more often, but and not just new people in your door, but a combination of those. Let's get new people in, and from the very beginning of the relationship, let's manage it right, and then get them to use your center 2 to 8, 6 to 10 times a year. Makes a massive difference to any proprietor, whether you're a mom and pop or you're a chain.
Oh yeah. And I forget exactly what the number is, but it's something like 6 times easier to get someone to come back than to come in for the first time. So why wouldn't you just focus on that
That's
and
it,
get all
right?
these people
And
coming
it
in
feels to me,
and the
Forrest, and
lifetime
correct me if I'm
value?
wrong, but there are good companies doing a really good job of getting people in the door, like BAM. There's nobody saying, "How are we getting you in the door more often?" Right? And it's 6 times easier, right?
Hmm.
So do what you need to do, and we
Right.
can help you with getting people in the door. But the bowling industry is not doing a terrible job of that. I mean, that's actually a growing number because of services like yours. But
Hmm.
what are we doing for the thing that's 6 times easier, right? I mean, that's
Right.
it. Like, that's where
Exactly.
your missing revenue is.
100%. And so I'd like to switch gears a little bit to focus maybe on the membership side. I know this is something you guys are still working on, but I'd love to hear from someone who's really scaled memberships in two different industries, how you guys are approaching it, maybe some thoughts or how you guys are planning to structure it. Like, how do I think the person who cracks this nut stands to really, once this is instituted? Because I've talked to a few different clients of mine. They want to do something like that. I feel the need is there, but no one has quite figured it
Yeah.
out. Figured it out.
It's funny. I can remember being a teenager, maybe my early 20s. I'm dating myself, but in the early 2000s, when, as I mentioned earlier, this idea of you're moving from paid in full at a gym to monthly membership, that was the biggest challenge ever. Because, like I said, more people had newspaper subscriptions than basic cable. So asking them for $30 a month was monstrous.
Hmm.
But when you look now, that's the way the industry is. And so as we entered the car wash industry, we heard the same thing. This is not going to happen. People aren't going to pay for this. This is a commoditized thing where they're going to go to any of the other car washes. They're looking for price. And you can drive down any main street in your town and realize that assumption was wrong, right? So we've been able to crack the code in two industries where we were told we couldn't crack the code. So I think that
Right.
I believe that we've cracked the code in the bowling industry. And what we're talking about is a nominal amount. So a smaller amount of money for a higher credit, right? Whereas it's unlimited when we're talking about those two other industries. I think we can evolve to that in the bowling industry, but we firmly believe that the model is something like 8.95 for $20 in credit. And me, as the reason, part of why we thought of this was I was actually bowling with my wife and my two daughters, and we really enjoyed it. And I'm thinking I would do this more often, but I never receive a communication, right? I never think of it. It's
Hmm.
not front of mind. A giant part of success of recurring revenue is it's front of mind. And a big part of that is I made some kind of investment in this. So asking for a small investment of 8.95 for a $20 credit, something along those lines that we can manage inside of our customer management program, and a bowling provider never needs to think about it. It's just happening. And now in the first of the month, I'm getting X revenue, and if it's used, if it's not. But I think one of the giant differences and advantages that the bowling industry has over both the gym industry and car wash industry, where we built millions upon millions of members, is there's a fear in those industries of overuse, right? Like, A car wash might only cost a buck 50 or buck 25 to happen, but if you do it on a
Hmm.
$20 membership 20 times, there's a delta there that is in the negative. And gyms, if
Yeah,
everybody shows up, there's only so many elliptical machines and treadmills, right? Whereas
exactly. Yeah.
in the bowling industry, you want to incentivize attendance because they're buying beer, they're buying food.
Yeah. It's
My
the
kids are going
opposite.
to use the
Mhm.
crane machine until it breaks, right? That's just how it is. So you're going to get a
Right.
lot more revenue out of me. The magic of a bowling or family entertainment center is when you're in the door, it's almost like going to a baseball game. You're spending so much more than that ticket price, right? I mean, it's why
Right.
minor league baseball is
Mhm.
willing to give tickets away for free. They're making money off of everything else. So this is a different model based off of what I just sort of internally am calling the attendance benefit. There is an attendance benefit that is 20 to $30 per person. So even if you're deeply discounting to gain that recurring revenue, the benefit of them showing up is exponential. I mean, it is just, and it's different than
Mhm.
nearly any industry that I can think of where your product consumption is costly, whether you're Netflix, right? The reason why Netflix cut back on you sharing accounts is product consumption is costly. It's the opposite in this
Right.
industry. Product consumption is a benefit, it is almost insane.
Hey, did you like this video? Great. We make 10 of them a week. Subscribe to learn more and keep learning about what's working in the industry. Talk to you then.